Now that you have a general overview of the organization of the pages within this drawing set, let's start to take a look at some of the elements that appear on each of these pages. The first element I want to discuss is the title block, because this is the first element that the designer is going to put on the page. Now, to look at our title block, I want you to ignore our cover sheet here for a minute, and we're going to click and go to page 2, which is sheet A001, and we're going to take a look at the title block on this page. Now, I don't want you to get distracted, so I'm going to go ahead and erase everything on this page that is not part of the title block. So basically, everything that you see here makes up the title block. And the title block is where you're going to find general information about both the project and the information that's contained on the drawing sheet. So let's zoom in and scroll, in this case, to the top of our title block and start to take a look at the bits of information you can find here. So beginning at the top, what we have here is information on the company or the architect or the designer that created this set of drawings. And underneath that, in this case, there's an empty box which might contain some information on any consultants that they hire to help them draw this portion of the project. Now, if we continue to scroll down, in this block, right now we see an empty box, and what you would typically see there might look like this. And that's going to be the seal of the architect or the engineer or the designer that created this project. And if we're out building in the field and I'm using a set of drawings, I generally want to make sure that I'm using one that's got this seal, because that's an indication, or that's one indication to me that this is a set of drawings that's done and ready to be used. So let's continue to scroll down, and we see information on the project name. So this project is called the Net Zero Energy Residential Test Facility, and underneath that you have information on the project owner. So all of this information that we've got here so far, I would expect to be duplicated on all of the pages throughout my set of construction documents. Now, as I move down, here's where we're going to see some of the information start to change, though. What you see here in this portion of the title block is, well, let's see, at the top you've got kind of an empty table. You've got empty cells here in the table until you scroll down to here, where you see that we have some information on when this set was created and issued. So this set of construction drawings was issued on March 31st, 2010, and it was issued for construction. So again, if I'm using this in the field to build something, I really want to see those words somewhere on this drawing, issued for construction. If I see something like issued for design or 50% design documents, that's kind of an indication to me that I might not be using the correct set of drawings. I want to use that issued for construction set of drawings. Now, as the project progresses, there might be changes made to the drawings. And so let's go ahead and go to our next page, and you'll see exactly that. This architectural site plan looks like it was originally issued, again, just like the other pages in the set, on March 31st, but it was updated on May 7th. And if we click a couple more pages down, you see this drawing has been revised twice. It was revised once on 6/29 and again on 7/27. And these dates are really critical because we want to make sure that we're using the latest drawing when we're building out in the field. So the other thing I want to point out here is that you'll see that when revisions are made, the designer generally is just going to reissue the page that contains those revisions and not necessarily every page in the set. So that's why if we go back to the page that we started on, you see it doesn't have any revisions that have been issued. Now, as we continue down, we have a few more bits of information here. This information, it just generally helps the designer find their project file name, maybe their digital file name, so they can pull it up later. But these two pieces of information here are drawn by and checked by information. So you have initials or names that tell us or give us some indication as to the detailer that actually drew this page and maybe the detailer that checked it. So that gives us two names that we can associate with this page or this set of drawings. If we scroll back up to our designer's seal, If this were a real architect or engineer seal, there would also be a name here, and that would give us a third name to associate with this set of drawings in case we need to get a hold of somebody to get questions answered. Now, moving down to our last two pieces of information in the title block, we're always going to have a sheet name that gives us some indication as to what kind of information we're going to find on this page. So in this case, it's design criteria and general structural notes. If we go to the next page and zoom out, this is our architectural site plan. And as we scroll through here, you'll see that the sheet names change, and so do the sheet numbers. So let's look at the sheet number down here. This is A101A. Let's go back and look at A101. And the sheet number is generally how we're going to refer to the page that we're referencing when we're talking to somebody out in the field or we're talking between the field and the design team. So down here you can see, because these are digital files, this is page 3 of my digital file, but there's no indication of any continuous page numbers on the actual printed drawings. So when we're talking to people about which drawing sheet we want them to look at, we want to use this sheet number, A101, as opposed to saying page 3, because somebody out in the field might have just been given 2 sheets of drawings because that's all they need, and we need to make sure we're talking about the correct sheet. So if we look at A101, you see that A is also an indication that this is part of the architectural set of drawings. If we open up our bookmarks and scroll down here, and let's go ahead and click on sheet F001, and you can see F001 is a sheet that pertains to the fire protection drawings. Again, looking at our bookmarks over here, the plumbing drawings start with a P, the mechanical drawings start with an M, and this is generally how construction drawings are numbered. Now, while we're on the fire protection drawing here, let's take a look at that title block. You can see that in this case, we have some additional information filled in that consultant block because this architect hired this consultant to do the fire protection plans. But you can see that the title block remains the same. And generally that's because the architect sent this title block to their consultant and said, please use this to do all your drawings. And that way we have a consistent look and feel for everything as we navigate through all of our drawings. But I also want to note, let's go to our civil drawings, and we'll just click on one of those. Close that so you can see the whole sheet. Understand that sometimes different designers use different title blocks, so don't get surprised by that. This is still for the same project, but you can see the title block does look different, and that's just because a different designer drew this set of drawings. So let's quickly scroll in and show you that all the same information is here. So all of the revision dates are still here. Information on who drew it and the name of the project and the owner are all still here in the title block, as is the information on the sheet name and the sheet number. So just, again, keep this in mind as you progress through a set of drawings. Remember that things like the mechanical drawings, the civil or the structural drawings, they're probably drawn by a different company and they might have a different title block. Just remember to check that title block and you'll always find that the same information's there, even though it might be laid out just a little bit differently.